This should be a fairly quick update because I do plan on still building our hologirls, but I've been doing other things in the meantime. Mostly just making sure my rebuilt main desktop here is stable enough to actually start using it, because the last thing I want to be doing is working on another set of characters and just have this thing randomly blue screen and I lose the files I'm working on. Granted, I back them up fairly consistently, but having this thing being unstable is something I really don't want to have happen. And generally speaking, it's been stable. I haven't had any issues. Just running the old New Dawn demo again for a little while. And overall, it's been working completely fine. But some other things have happened. I was able to take what was essentially my original main rig and kind of rebuild it in a way to give my father an even better computer. This one has a i5-10400, 16 gigs of RAM of DDR4, and a 2080 Super. So this thing's more than overkill for what he needs, but for what he originally had, this is a significant upgrade. He was originally using this Dell Precision right here that I bought from my local Free Geek a while back, and this was his current computer for a while. It's basically a workstation. I did some upgrades on it already. I upgraded the RAM, I bought another CPU and whatnot, and for the video card, which is not in here right now, it was a 1080 Ti. Overall, this is a good little computer, but compared to what he has now, this thing's a slow pile of crap. This thing still is a very usable system, but I want to give my father something even nicer to work with, or at least something a lot more newer that has RGB and whatnot, because he likes that stuff. The PS3 Slim I uploaded a video on that was full of bugs and whatnot. It works completely fine. It's just the power supply needs to be replaced or repaired. Here's that original power supply I was talking about. If I remember where it is, I can show you what the issue is. Where you see that little skid mark in the middle of the screen and these three little resistors, there's a nice little cockroach that are bridging all of those, and more than likely those three resistors need to be replaced. I don't know for certain because working on power supplies is not something I know what to do, but I think just replacing those three resistors and maybe cleaning the area up, and this power supply will start working again. But like I said, that is something that is far outside my skill set. So two options are, replace it with one off eBay that works, send it off to a repair shop that knows what it's doing, and or just use the current power supply I'm using right now out of my other PS3 to at least power this thing up. Also, I think I might need to delete it, but I don't know for certain. Since I have another PS3 Slim, I can actually do a comparison to see if this one actually needs to be deleted or if it's running completely fine. I think it's running completely fine, but I want to do a proper comparison first before I start deleting this thing. You're technically not supposed to delete these Slims since it's not really necessary, but then again, all PS3s are designed the same way, even the Super Slim, to where there is still a IHS on the CPU and GPU, or at least on the Slim. The Super Slim is just a IHS on the CPU, I believe, not the GPU. But either way, they will still all need to be deleted at some point. It's just that since these are far more newer and whatnot, the time necessary to delete these things hasn't come just yet. But the time will eventually come where these guys will need to be deleted, just like the Fats. Same thing as the Super Slim I own, but yeah. With that said, this is my main thing I got relatively recently, since I'm a volunteer over at my local Free Geek. From time to time, I come across interesting little things. This little Alienware was in the designated to be recycled bin, also as a Gaylord, and I got it for $5. And generally speaking, it works completely fine, but it has this weird little quirks and whatnot. But it's a 17-inch, it runs Windows 7 perfectly fine, and for what I want to use this thing for, which is Windows 7 gaming, it's more than adequate. The one thing I had to buy right out of the gate for a replacement is speakers, because somehow the original owner literally blew out the speakers. I don't know how he did that, but the speakers are cooked in this thing, so I have replacements that coming in from eBay. Don't know when they're coming in. Hopefully sometime this week so I can actually start using this thing properly without headphones, but yeah. This is the one thing I'm really happy with that I got fairly recently. Even though it's an old Alienware, it's an Alienware within the era I personally like. So, I think that's pretty much it for the updates because I need to start getting back to building my Hololive characters.